I'm Aleks.
And I'm Rob.
I'm from Novi Sad, Serbia.
And I'm from New York. Aleks and I started dating after meeting on a German cruise ship where we were entertainers.
And now we are in a long-distance relationship.
Until we can be together again, we decided to start a podcast.
We may come from different backgrounds, but that's exactly what keeps the conversation going for hours.
We can't wait for you to listen to this episode.
So sit back and enjoy it.
Because we have a lot to talk about. Today on the show, we have a very special guest, Liz Duong, who has shared her Serbian language journey this past year while in quarantine on her YouTube channel called Liz Learns Serbian. On her channel, she covers topics mostly in Serbian with English subtitles, ranging from English-Serbian language comparisons to cooking adventures. So thank you so much for being on the show, Liz.
It is a pleasure to be here today. I'm a long-time listener.
I love it.
So also welcome from my side. Thanks for listening also. Can you tell us where you're coming from and how you decided to learn Serbian language?
Okay, so I'm guessing you guys want the long story because this is a long format podcast. Yeah. Okay, so I'll give you all of the juice.
Yes.
Start from the beginning.
Okay, so back when I was in Australia, I grew up on the west side of Melbourne, which is where where a lot of people of different nationalities from Eastern European countries. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, European countries in general.
So I bet Serbian, Macedonia.
Yeah, we had all sorts. So we had the Greeks and the Turks and the Serbs, the Croats, and a couple of Vietnamese people like myself who were a part of the mix. And so I had always been around Eastern European cultures. I had this accident one time when I think I was in year 7, and I asked a Greek guy, so what's the big deal about, why do you guys hate Turks so much? And so this is year 7, Liz.
Yeah, and 2 hours later, you get the answer.
So actually, it was 50 minutes exactly, because I remember, I asked him at the very start of the class, and he didn't finish until the very end of class, and our periods were 50 minutes. So thank God the bell rang.
Oh my God.
Saved by the bell, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But also some important history that you probably should have learned. So that's good.
Yes, no, it was interesting. But for year 7 me, I was like, I would just much rather learn chemistry right now. Chris, come on. Chris Rakowski was his name. Hey, Chris, if you're listening to this,
you could send it on over to him.
Just a shout out. Anyway, when I went to university, I met this Serbian guy, and we didn't have any Serbians in our school at the time, but we did have a few Croatians. So we started hanging out, we started dating, and we were together for 5.5 years. And so that's a very long time to be with a Serbian boy. So I think it really shaped me as a person, as they do have very, I wouldn't say aggressive, but very loud personalities, strong personalities, as I would say. So I used to be a bit of a marshmallow, and now I'm not so much. Aleks knows what I'm talking about here.
This is so funny, yeah.
And so after 5.5 years, we were thinking, okay, so maybe it's the right time to actually visit Serbia. And I had just finished my university, and I thought, okay, this is the perfect time to actually start learning Serbian, because his parents didn't know any English at all, despite living in Australia for so long. They the Serbian community, they like to keep to themselves, and they end up just speaking Serbian amongst one another, which is fine. And so we organized a trip to Serbia. We then broke up right before he was about to buy his tickets, because I bought my tickets first. And I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, that's a plot twist.
Yep. It was one of those neck minute moments. And then I was like, okay, so what am I going to do now? And you know how expensive a flight from Australia to Serbia. I spent almost like $2,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is 4 months. I can either get a refund on my ticket or just go for my life and just see how it is. And it was like 4 weeks of language classes as well that I had also booked. Intensive language classes every single day, 9 to 2 o'clock. And so I went. I had the most amazing, life-changing 4 weeks of my life. And then I returned back to normal life. And I guess that's how it started.
So what happened in those 4 weeks that really like what was that life-changing event in those 4 weeks besides learning the language?
I think it was seeing a different way of life and a different mentality. And it was so different from what I had known all of my life. Like I had known nothing more than this sort of, how do you say, maybe like capitalistic point of view, where you finish university, you get a good corporate job, you then you maybe like work amongst different corporate jobs for the next 40, 50 years. In that time, you have kids, you buy a house, you buy another house, you finally retire. And that was the life that I was going to lead. And I was well on the path to leading that sort of life. I had got a corporate job. I was working already, I think at that point, maybe 3 years. I had a really good job. And for someone that was my age, earning what I was earning, I was on the path to success. Success in our eyes.
Relative terms, yeah.
But then when I came to Serbia, I realized that life isn't just about money. It's not about getting the best house, the best car, the best laptop. It's actually about the relationships that you make and real experiences. And life is about family and friends. Sorry, I'm just getting a bit emotional.
It's extremely relatable. The capitalist approach in America, I think, is very similar. I work with a lot of Australians, actually, and New Zealanders. And all of these countries have such a capitalist approach that when you go to a place where everyone slows down and cares about life.
Yeah, like actually living life.
Yeah, rather than work leading to your life. Really, it's an emotional experience when you realize that there's more to life than work,
Exactly. And I think it was just so in my face, just realizing that just these simple things that I already had access to. Like I didn't have to work really, really hard to go for coffee with a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I just learned to be happy with what I already have in life and just to be zadovoljno, satisfied.
Satisfied.
Yeah, with what I already have rather than just constantly chasing something that is always going to be just a few meters away from my reach.
Yeah. Like chasing a carrot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was my sort of life-changing experience.
Yeah.
So what happened like when you returned back home? Did you then decided, I guess, like when you saw the boat pictures, let's say?
Yeah.
When you returned from the trip to Serbia, like what's the timeline of you actually deciding like to move here? Would be my like next question.
I think it was pretty much immediately, but I didn't think that it was going to be the next year. I thought that I was going to milk my corporate job as much as I could for the next 3 years, and then maybe potentially buy a property in Serbia and then move my entire life there, just so I didn't have to have that thought in the back of my mind, always having to meet the rent and things like that. But then, like, coronavirus...
It really just ruined everyone's plans.
Well, I guess it's how you look at it, because now, like, I could have stayed in Australia and continued working in that same mindset for the next 3 years. I could have still waited. But I don't know. I think I finally had more time to myself. And then I figured, okay, you know what, I'm not going to have a better time than now to actually learn the language. So before that, I was just doing one class for 1 hour every single week in Serbian. So 1 hour talking Serbian every week, which is definitely not enough to learn a language.
Yeah.
So in March, I was like, nah, Liz is going to get serious. I'm going to do this. And at this point, I still didn't want to move to Serbia. I thought it was still a really far away idea. I would have liked to, but again, not possible. Yeah, so I contacted the school that I was working with in Serbia, asked them if I could do something online perhaps. They were also affected by Corona, obviously. I then had classes every single day, an hour and a half to 3 hours. There were a few days where I did 3 hours to 5 days a week. And then I also got a tutor on italki for the weekends because I wanted to also speak Serbian on the weekend. I did not want to have a break. Like, there was no way I was going to take a break. And then I started my YouTube channel in March.
What was the connection that allowed you to then make this big change to move to Serbia? Or I guess the long journey of this past year, how this all was able to play out for you?
Yes, so I think after being 3 months in isolation, I had accumulated a little bit more money. And I had also like every day I was talking to someone in Serbian, and I saw how quickly my Serbian was improving to the point where I was able to communicate just in Serbian. And then my YouTube channel then exploded. And it was a very, very sharp explosion. It was one video that I had made. It was the 10 reasons why Serbian is better than English. And in my heart, I knew when I made that video, this is going to be the video that is going to make my channel huge.
I think that's the first one that I saw.
Yes.
So this happened very, very quick for you.
Yeah.
Starting in March and then jumping off from there.
Pretty much. Well, I think it was a calculated explosion because I was always a student I was always already a part of this circle because I was a watcher. I watched every single foreigner that was on YouTube. I watched also foreigners that were learning the language or had mastered the language. I had started watching Serbian YouTube just to get my listening, and I was a part of this world, and I realized that I had something special to share that didn't already exist on YouTube. And video editing is my work. And so I knew I could deliver it in good quality as well. So I made a few videos. I think at that point I had only made maybe 9. I had 9 videos on my channel. And then I finished this video. I sent it to all my teachers and said, can you double check this? Make sure that I don't offend anyone. Make sure that it's all correct. And because I think when I publish this, it's going to explode. The news is going to want to pick it up. And I don't want all of Serbia thinking that I'm an idiot.
Good goal.
Yes. Like, I was so nervous when I pressed that button, which was like publish, that blue button. Publish.
Yeah.
Publish. Yeah.
And literally that day, bang.
I think this is a good transition for me to možda da počnemo pričamo na srpskom. Jel ti to u redu?
Može. Pa naravno je može.
Tvoj srpski je, moram da priznam, poprilično dobro. Sad kad smo počeli da pričamo, kad si se uključila na ovaj razgovor na engleskom, bilo mi ono kao, ona priča i engleski, pošto sam navikao da slušam.
Malo je moj maternji jezik, znaš.
Da, pa to, znam. Htio sam da pitam za kad si stvarno došla ovde, kad si se preselila, si bila ovde kad je bio lockdown i ovde ili si došla posle?
Malo posle, bilo je tokom avgusta, u stvari. Mislim, kada Srbija je bila slobodna.
Aha.
Onako.
Da, onak. Pa leto nije bilo loše, leto je bilo super, tada i
Pa da.
Rob došla da me podsjeti.
Ali nažalost bilo je na kraj leto.
Da. Ali dobro. Dobar je izgovor, poprilično dobar, bilo mi je zanimljivo da problem sa č, ć, ž, nj, imaš sličan problem kao što Rob je učila par nekih reči, pa je bilo to č, ć,
Da.
ž,
Pa jeste.
A jeste, dobro, to je bilo komplikovano. A mislim da je to prvi video koji sam ja i video. Ne mogu da se setim da li je drugar moj Nikola, da li mi je on rekao za tebe da potražim ili je meni izašlo kao suggestion, jel, na YouTube-u. Mislim da je bilo to kao 10 razloga zašto, ja. Koliko ti ima pregleda? Kad si rekla to je eksplodiralo, sad nisam... se sećaš?
Ne sećam se tačno, ali sada ja mislim skoro 800.000 pregledi. To je moj najpopularniji video na YouTube-u. I baš mi je drago. Znaš koliko traja je bio da stvorim ovaj video. Stavila sam, mislim, puno srce u jednom videu.
Pa to je dobro da je baš taj onda eksplodirao. To je
da. Pa u svakom videu punim sve u srce. Onda mislim da Srbija može da vidi i da osjećaju.
Pa da. Dobro, Liz, hvala ti za srpski. Ajde sad da se vratimo na engleski, da Rob ne bi bila zbunjena.
Može.
So we can track back to English now. So, Rob, because you...
I probably could understand a little bit more than some of our audience.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Yes.
I understood the ch, ch, j. It's hard.
Yeah.
And how much of a problem they are.
Yes.
Liz was explaining in one video that I watched like recently just to see like I didn't watch them all, so I was like, haha, that's funny. It's funny. Yeah, because it's like, what's the difference?
I still don't think I can feel the difference. Like ch. I don't know.
So Aleks says I do it right, and this is what I think it is.
Yeah.
Is that if you do, it's like a it at the end. As I kept talking to him. So since I'm a singer, I keep talking about how in the Serbian language there seems to be a shadow vowel at the end of every single, even if it's a consonant, they have specific vowel sounds that come after it. So I kind of was like, ch is like a I, and then ch is like an and it kind of helps you get the ch sound correct in each of them. Aleks is just laughing. He's like,
I don't know. You tell us.
But like, I was like, so that's why I'm like, ch. Is that correct, Aleks?
We're waiting.
Which one?
The difference.
Which one?
Ch.
Can you do it again?
Ch.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
no way.
It's funny that like it helps you to get the ch.
I know.
So
that's kind of what I figured it, because in like the like more like Latin based languages and Germanic based languages, actually no, Germanic, like German, they do something similar. Which is why I think it's so easy for Serbians to learn German. But in like English, Spanish, you end, like we have consonants where it's just like t, where there is no vowel after it. So it makes also sense why it's really hard for Serbians to have learn certain consonants that we have, like the or v, w, because we can make those sounds without using the shadow vowel. We can do v, f, b, p, t, the, but like for them, the letter is the sound. So it's like very straightforward. Yes. Like, so yeah, maybe that's helpful for you for the ch conundrum.
Yeah, no, actually, no, it was. Thank you for that.
I can't speak anything except count to 10, but Moshe?
I actually think that people that work in performing arts have a natural skill, especially actors, I find, have a very good skill at learning new languages. And I've just seen it time and time again. For example, there's this French guy that lives here in Belgrade. You might know him. He does like plays in Serbian. What's his name? I don't know. And yeah, he learned it so quickly because like I think you guys just have this ability, just this mental ability. I don't know what it is, like to memorize scripts and accents and sounds and you guys have an ear and a mouth for it.
Yeah, I would definitely say learning a language by speaking it, like I think what you were talking about, forcing yourself to speak it every day is just like, I mean, acting is very similar. I mean, I don't know anyone who learns lines by reading them in their head all the time. It's the same with language. So really, I think that's just where it stands, is you just have to speak it every day. Such a hypocrite. Yeah,
just kill yourself. Kill yourself with the language. That's literally what I did.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. But it is really taxing.
Yes. I'm sure, I'm sure at the end of your day, if you're, this is what used to happen to my brother, because he would never speak English with anybody. He would only be speaking Italian. If he ever had to at the end of the day, his brain would be mush. But also, like, if like he goes 2 weeks not speaking English and then he says like a paragraph,
and then the brain farts,
he'll finish his paragraph and he'll turn to his girlfriend and be like, I don't know how to speak Italian anymore.
Yes. Oh my God, that happens to me all the time. Like switching is so difficult, especially when you've gone a long time just speaking one language. And then like I've had times where I will speak Serbian the whole day, and then I'll start dreaming in Serbian, and then in the next morning, my boyfriend's like, "Hey, good morning," and I'm like, "What?" Like, "Šta?"
That happened to me with English. When I was learning for the certificate that I took like years ago, but I was like dreaming in English.
Yeah, that's really good. I think it's a sign like you've reached a new level.
I guess.
I think so. Actually, when you said that, I was just thinking about Alex's story with that, because that's kind of what you said too, is like when you realized you were dreaming in English, you were like, I guess I know this language well.
I guess I'm here now.
So what other languages do you speak? Is it just English and Serbian? Or do you also speak Vietnamese?
I also speak Vietnamese, but I think at this point my Serbian is better than my Vietnamese, because I can listen and understand in Vietnamese, like even complicated stuff, because I guess you get the context. But now I remember when I was speaking to my parents, I think a few days ago or something, and man, it was so hard. I had to like, the first word that came to me was in Serbian, and then I was like, oh shit, what's the Vietnamese word for this? And I was like, fuck it, I'll just use English.
Yeah. That would happen to me with Spanish and German. I mean, I'm not fluent in either language, but if you don't mind me asking, so in Vietnamese, is the grammar structure similar to either of the other languages that you're learning? Is it completely different?
I'm going to be quite honest with you guys, and because Vietnamese was a language that I had picked up just as a kid, I never learned the grammar. So it's not something that they teach you in Vietnamese school. You just learn vocab and you write sentences and you speak it. And so I can't tell you, but I think I remember, like, for example, if I said red balloon, in Vietnamese it's balloon red. So there's like a few variations that I don't know about. Okay, so past participles and like... Alex, you know this better than me. Like, what's the English grammar?
I think I know English grammar better than Serbian, like to explain actually.
Yeah, and I would know better Serbian grammar than you.
Yeah.
Well, when you're born into it,
100%.
You don't need to.
Babies don't know how the grammar works. You still speak like your language until you go to school, and you basically you learn your language by listening to it. I was like, before I went to school, I would know English, let's say like maybe 80%. I will make mistakes here and there, of course. Most of the things I would knew just by the actual knowing of the sound of the sentence, that the sentence is correct. I don't know the answer why, I cannot explain because my grammar sucks. So that's why when I went to school, I did a test. So I was like intermediate. But actually for vocabulary and for the understanding, I was way above.
Do you think it has anything to do with having a photographic memory?
Could be.
I recently found this out. I feel like the worst girlfriend in the world. But to be honest, to be fair,
Yes.
Alex is a Scorpio and he keeps secrets from me. So I'm blaming him. But I'm guessing that probably helps you with language.
He does look a bit sneaky.
So, what do we have to look forward to on your YouTube channel? Is there anything that you're working on that you're like excited about, or?
Yes, like as a content creator, I've always got ideas.
Yeah.
It's just like if I could just
Yep.
have
That's
someone,
great.
if I could just have like my brother or someone that's actually good at filming that literally has nothing else to do but help me film, that would be great. Because that would save me a lot of time, because I had to stand there, fiddle with the camera, and then connect it to my laptop so I can see what's going on whilst I'm fiddling with the camera. And then, anyway, I waste a lot of time doing that shit. So for my channel, I think the next video that I'll be working on, because I had already been working on these mini vlogs for Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's something relatively new that I've created, because I really wanted to use copyright music, which I can't do on my YouTube channel, but I can on Instagram. And because I listen to a lot of like really, like I love piano music, sort of classical music, and there are so many songs and I would like to use some film scores as well. For example, I want to do like this Breakfast with Tiffany's, but in Belgrade opening.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So, and then, for example, I think the next video that I'll work on is my Tara vlog. I'm a bit hesitant to make it because it's not something that I usually do, and I don't want to become a vlogger. I don't want to become a travel vlogger. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. If it's not good, I'll just upload it to IGTV, and that's the end of that story. But here's the thing. So here's the big project that I'm working on right now, and I actually haven't said this anywhere on any other interview that I've had, platform, not even in writing. And that's so. It's going to be another 10 something video, and it'll be 10 tips to learn Serbian, because it's a celebration of the 300 days goal that I had. I think by the time I finish this video, it will be exactly a year when I've learned, like how long I've learned Serbian. And so it will be a tour around Belgrade, and every point, so every tip will be at a new location in Belgrade. And like I can see the way that I'm going to film, it's going to be like really fast paced. Like I turn to the camera and now the camera's over there, and then we're somewhere else. And then I'm also going to invite a few of my friends and other foreigners that have learnt Serbian to share their advice as well. So like, for example, I go to a cafe and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, who's that? And there's like Tiago Ferreira on the end of the table. It's like, hey, fancy seeing you here.
So almost like a 73 questions. I think that's what it's called on Vogue.
Yeah, like on Vogue.
Yeah,
kind of like that.
Really
Kind of like
cool
that
aesthetic.
style, but just not one take.
Yeah.
Not one take, because that's like, I don't know how they do that.
A lot of planning and yes, a lot of time that they have to do that.
I guess.
I do not have the skills or I guess the time to do that.
You're a one-woman job, and I will say the fact that you produce all of your own material it's really hard to even just do a podcast, and that's audio only. I mean, I can't imagine doing literally everything on your own. Like, that's really impressive. And I know you said that that's what your job was before. But like, even I also have editing training, and I'm like, it just takes so long. It's a lot of dedication.
Yeah, it does. Like, people think that it just takes like an hour. Oh, so the podcast is 30 minutes, so it takes you guys like 2 hours max. And you're like, guys, literally days.
Yes.
Days sitting in front of a computer for like 8 hours at a time, not going to take a shit.
Yes.
And forgetting to drink and eat Because you're just like, oh, just one more. I'm so close. I'm so close. I just need to finish this one thing.
But that's also, I think, like the editor's mind, that's what drives you also, is that you're like, oh, just this one last little thing and then I'll move on. That's why I always say to Aleks, I'm like, all right, I got to pick a day to edit this where I don't have anything going on. Not because it's going to get in the way, but because I will just neglect that other task.
Yeah, it will not get done.
Yes.
It will not get done. Like, I always edit like around 1 p.m. I was going to
say wild.
And do like all the stuff that I need to do, like class, learning Serbian, all the stuff, like going to the gym. And then 1 p.m. it's my time.
Yep.
But you know what? I think like you guys can relate to this too. If it's something that you really enjoy, and it's really rewarding when you can finally put up a podcast or when you can finally put up a YouTube video and like the comments and the likes and you start seeing it pay off. It's really rewarding.
Yeah.
And especially like here, I don't know if you had that impression, but like for Serbia, the podcasts are really not big. That's why we are doing it in English. Like I was like, it's not a big thing here, and I was. So my idea, like, initially was, like, 2 years old or something, but I couldn't find anybody to do it with. So, and then Rob happened, and I was like, let's do it. She was like, nah, but eventually.
He abused me for my editing experience. He's like, I don't know how to edit. Can you do it?
He's just using you.
Yeah, we kind of divided the job, if you will. Half and half, like I'm doing one thing and that's like kind of it came a really organic. So
well, that's a sign of a good team.
Well, Liz, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I can't wait for us to release this episode because it's filled with such great stuff for content creators, but also like anyone who wanted to really get to know you and your story more. And also so that our listeners can start listening to you because you have really great content and it's so interesting, and it's not just for people learning a new language, it's really for anybody who's trying to understand a new culture or
learn how to cook.
Yeah, learn how to cook.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the meal you made.
Go to it.
Oh my god, I was like, I want to eat everything that you just made.
Oh man, I just gotta say, it was just as good as how it looks on the video.
I love that.
Just to make you extra jealous.
I love food so much.
So yeah, thank you for the time, and it was a pleasure talking with you about language.
Yes.
In general, not just Serbian, but like the whole experience of like a learning, which I can relate sort of with English. So
I actually wish that I do more podcasts about language because that's actually where the meat is, I think. But anyway, yeah, cool. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for having me on the podcast. It was a real pleasure. And this is probably the first one I've done in English. So thank you.
Oh my
you
God.
guys have that honor.
I am honored. Thanks for listening to this episode of We Have a Lot to Talk About. We have new episodes coming out every Monday on most podcast platforms and on YouTube as well. And don't forget to subscribe, like, rate, and review us, as well as give us a follow on Instagram at We Have a Lot to Talk About podcast. Talk to you next time.